Hi, this is Vinayak Tiller. I hope you all doing great. Today, the talk is about reinterpreting secularism as separation of power. Now, the conventional idea of secularism is that we have to separate religion from the state, and we cite reason as a major factor for this separation, right? Since religions are not consistent with reason and rationality, we disqualify these religions from entering into public discourse, education, governance, and so on. But I think this is very limited way of understanding secularism because if reason is our only concern, then let's say if the religion is consistent with reason, there are religions like Buddhism, Jainism, or for that matter atheism, who are built upon the materialistic foundation. So they are not as superstitious as other religions. So are we were to say that these religions can be state religions? No, right? Because the moment you put one religion as a state religion, and you're giving, you're intimidating the other religions. You are they feel like, you're putting one religion as an official religion, as a state religion. Then what are we? Are we second class religions or what? Because that's what the setup is, right? So I will explain, even in simpler, even more simpler terms. I will take an example for that. Let's say there is a public hostel, and let's say there are four students who are living in it, and since it is a public hostel, everyone tries to coexist with each other because it is a, it's a public hostel. But the moment you say that this hostel belongs to one particular student, and that student will start to dictate the terms, the student will say, you have to live according to my terms, otherwise you have to leave. That attitude will become one when you put one student or one religion as a state religion. The whole idea of freedom of religion will get compromised. You know. See, you're giving this one advantageous position to one religion, then the other religions will not have, equal say. They can't compete because there is no level playing field in that situation. So, and even like, let's say people who are in this state religion willing to opt out of that for whatever reasons they have, they will double think that because we are living in state religion, and we are living, we are having this state religion. If we opt out, then we might lose some privileges, right? So the whole idea of this freedom of religion will get corrupted, and there are many problems if our idea of secularism is limited to just to reason. And it is not just the problems within the multi-religious societies. Even in the mono-religious societies, these conventional notions of secularism are not sufficient because like there are different positions of power, right? And to acquire these different positions of power, you have different channels. For example, if you are aspiring to legislature, positions in legislature, you got a different channel. You have to go through, this you have to go through this democratic process like election, and then you can achieve that legislature. And if you are aspiring for positions in bureaucracy, you have to go through, you have to write exam, you have to qualify, and you can become a bureaucrat. On the other hand, if you are aspiring power within the field of religion, you have to go through different process, a different course of a journey to acquire that priesthood position. But the moment you are mixing these things, the moment you are mixing these powers, the religious leader who does not who haven't gone through these process will these political channels will start dictating these fields. which they shouldn't have to do it in the first place, right? So see, the whole idea of channels of power you'll get corrupted. Okay, I will explain even more simpler terms, and again I will take a classroom example for it. Let's say there is a student. Let's say there is a teacher who wants to go out of the classroom for a while. The teacher adopted two students as a leader, because if the teacher appointed one student as a leader, then they can be arbitrary, right? So if we have two authorities, they can cross check each other. That's the hope behind it. But then what if these two students came to an understanding, and working together, exercising power together and misusing it? That's what that's what will happen if you mix religion and state. If you see, if they are different, if you have if you have problem with religion, you can go for for a rescue to the state, because this is. But the moment you are mixing the power, you're concentrating this power within few hands, and also you're intertwining it, and then that will easily move towards the authoritarian line. That is why it is very important for us to understand or reinterpret secularism as separation of power. And it will benefit both secularism and also separation of power, because currently the conventional notion of secularism have very weak foundational principles, and therefore it is only applied within the state and religious dichotomy. Outside the state and religious discourse, we don't invoke secularism, right? Because on the other hand, though separation of power have very strong foundational principles, the Montesquieu only applied these separation of power within the framework of state only. The separation of power is confined to state, and the moment you interpret secularism as separation of power, you can bring this separation of power to the societal framework, because secularism operates on the larger societal framework. And also, if you understand secularism as a separation of power, you can go beyond the state and religious dichotomy, and then you can apply it to for example, within the societal framework, along with religion and state, you also got economy, right? And economic influences. There are economic influences within the state and within the politics and religion today. So with the new notion of this secularism as separation of power, you can try to mitigate those influences of economics entering into the state and politics and religion. And how we can mitigate them, how we can establish this equal status within the politics and the religion, that I will explain in coming videos. But for now, I want to say that this understanding, this new interpretation of secularism as separation of power, will bring the authenticity to the study. So it will be a very good starting point if we start to understand secularism as a separation of power. And if we can able to establish this, if we able to separate the power to the fullest extent, then it's going to change the society a lot. Because if you separate the power, if you divide the power, if you distribute the power so much so that it should not resemble as power anymore, it should be resembled as any other labor. Like there is carpenter, like there is teacher, engineer, doctor. Similarly, the positions of power should be similar to that. The moment you separate the power, there won't be any. They can't exercise the power, right? So they only left with the responsibility, and to fulfill this responsibility, they have to do it through labor, like any other occupation. And that's what the aim is. That's how big this concept of separation of power is. The moment you understand secularism as separation of power, you can really widen its application. You can apply it in all the societal frameworks, and that's what the main idea behind this. And it is very important in a country like us, in a country like India, because in India there is no separation of power. Like I also authored this book, Abstract Owner. I am leaving the link in the description, so you can check it from there. But what I'm trying to say is, like, in that book, in the first chapter, I talked about interrelations among Savarnas. You know these three communities, exclusively controlling the governing institutions of our life, which are religion, state, and economics. Not just exclusively controlling, but they are exclusively controlling through mutual assistance. And the reason why I discussed about the interrelations among Savarnas is to establish the fact that there is no separations of power within India. And that's why, if you observe, there is one big nexus out there, operating, they're controlling every institution, they are helping each other. There is one big nexus out there which is operating, which is governing us, and we can break that nexus through the concept of separation of power. And in coming videos, I will extend this concept, and I will also discuss discuss these ideas which I have formulated within the political finance, within the field of political finance, and how to finance spiritual institutions, and how to mitigate these inequalities of economics transcending into the politics and the state. That I will discuss in coming videos. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope I could able to explain you the importance of the reinterpretation of secularism as separation of power. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Bye.